Hey everybody, and welcome to week 12 of class. So this week we're going to begin a kind of mini series, if you will, on the American Civil War. There are a number of really climactic moments throughout American history, but perhaps the most climactic, and many historians would agree with this, is the Civil War. And so we want to spend just a few weeks, and in fact a little bit more than that, somewhere around 5 weeks or so, sort of looking at the next 20 to 30 years of U.S. history, most of which was really overwhelmed by events that, one, led us up to the war, obviously the war itself, and then the post-war period. And so for the next 5 or so weeks, we're going to be focusing on events that transpired between the years 1850 through 1877. And for the next 2 weeks, including this week, we are going to look at some of the central causes for the Civil War. Generally speaking, many history classes in the high school and junior high levels, they create what I call a historical binary, where they basically tell you that the causes of the Civil War was the result of the slaveholding South not wanting to give up the institution of slavery, and the non-slaveholding North who was hell-bent on eradicating or abolishing the institution. And that particular binary isn't really accurate, because there were a number of folks in the South that were against the institution of slavery. In fact, Angelina Grimke and the Grimke sisters, both of whom fought for women's rights, were from the South, from a slaveholding family, and they definitely did not approve of slavery. And there were a number of folks in the North who were just as racist as those in the South. And there were, in fact, some folks in the North who were more than happy to see the institution of slavery enshrined in the Constitution legally forever. So it's not really accurate to say that the war was caused just by that one thing. And the truth of the matter is that there are a number of different causes for the war, and we're going to be going through some of those causes this week. So in addition to slavery and its westward expansion, or the manifest destiny, if you will, there are also other issues at play here, some of which historians have said were even more important than slavery. For example, states' rights, the idea that the South had the desire to leave the Union, to secede from the Union, and when it did, it thought it had every right to do so. There is also the argument for preservation of the Union. In fact, when Abraham Lincoln first went to war in 1861, his goal was not to free the slaves. He said just as much. In fact, he said that the main reason for him going to the war was to preserve the Union. Okay, so we're going to be talking about all of these different causes for the war, but we'll also be looking at a number of what I call trigger events. So we've got these kind of broad categories of causes, whether it's slavery or states' rights or economic differences or preservation of the Union. And then throughout the 1850s into early 1860, 1861, you've got a number of trigger events, and we're going to be talking about some of those. And in fact, we already have talked about some of the trigger events. These would include things like the Missouri Compromise and the nullification crisis. So we're going to be looking at all of this, and over the next couple weeks, I'm going to be having you kind of dive into this idea of what the causes are. And so just understand that the material that you're going to look at this week, you will also be using it for next week to sort of inform your opinion on your discussion boards. So just be aware, okay, guys? So that's what we got going on. As always, be thinking also about what you might like to do for your next PowerPoint assignment, because that is coming up, as the semester begins to wind down. So that's what we've got for you this week. So if you have any questions or comments or what have you, contact me. I'll get back to you. Otherwise, as always, go in peace, be warm and filled. May the force be with you. Live long and prosper, and may the odds forever be in your favor. Have a blessed week, guys.